He waited for me. Dakota Johnson emotionally talks about Chris Martin, closing years of speculation. Los Angeles. When Dakota Johnson walked into the interview room that afternoon, no one expected Hollywood to witness one of the most honest confessions she had ever made in public. It wasn't about a new role, nor was it about scandals or rumors that were glowing in the newspapers. Instead, there were just 3 words that made the whole world hold its breath. He waited for me. That is the story of Dakota Johnson, the woman who spent many years quietly standing in the spotlight in the chaos of rumors, love, separation, and painful choices. And it is also the story of Chris Martin, the man who stood quietly behind, not imposing, not urging, just waiting. A story longer than the press has ever told. Dakota Johnson, 35, has lived her life between 2 worlds, art and media pressure. As the daughter of Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith, she grew up surrounded by breakups, adult love stories, and the fragility of happiness. She knows what it means to wait. She knows what it means to be waited for. And so, when she talks about Chris Martin, her eyes soften like a late summer afternoon. Chris was patient in a way I've never seen anyone else. He didn't ask why I needed time. He didn't doubt me. He just stood there and waited until I was ready to walk toward him. Rumors of their relationship began in 2017. They were seen dining together, strolling in Malibu, appearing at Coldplay concerts. But every time a reporter asked, Dakota just smiled vaguely. No confirmation, no denial. Just let everything drift away like a cold, wandering wind. Chris Martin, the man of silent moments. Chris Martin, 48, is a private man in love. After a civilized but regretful marriage with Gwyneth Paltrow, he was looking for something other than noise. And he found Dakota, a soul with more hidden corners than Hollywood imagined. A close friend of Chris said, Chris knew Dakota needed time to heal herself, to understand what she really wanted. He was not demanding. He did not ask her to love him in a certain way. He was just present. Not every man has the patience to love a woman who has been hurt, who has hesitated. But Chris Martin is different. He is peace, not because he tries to be peaceful, but because he is. Dakota's years of learning to face the past. Dakota doesn't mention anyone from her past by name, but everyone knows that years of rumors about her and Jamie Dornan once took the world by storm. No one really knows what happened behind the scenes of 50 Shades. No one knows how close they were. And it's the look in their eyes that makes the world think that, if only one chance, they could belong together. Dakota said in the interview, I've lived so long between the past and the future that I am not really in the present. That's what Chris has to face, not a rival, but wounds that have never been named. Patchwork of memories. Emotions she doesn't dare face. Self-doubt. Fear of commitment. And Chris never asks, never gets jealous. He just took her hand when she was trembling, and said, We don't need to rush. Why did Dakota choose Chris in the end? The interview fell silent when Dakota was asked, What made you know that Chris Martin was the one? Dakota bowed her head, smiling as if keeping a secret only she knew. Because no matter how many fears I had, he was there. He was willing to wait. Someone waits for you not because they don't have other options, but because you are their only option. She talked about afternoons in Malibu where Chris cooked dinner for them both. She talked about the days when he taught her to play guitar, and they both laughed when Dakota played the wrong chords. She talked about the moment Chris took her to the studio and quietly played her an unreleased demo, a song he had written for her. He said he wrote it thinking about our future. Dakota burst into tears right there in the studio that day. And in today's interview, her eyes were still slightly red when she remembered. Closing the years of speculation. Dakota has been attached to all kinds of rumors. Back with her ex. Secret with colleagues. break up, reunite, then break up again. But today, she closed it all with a simple but beautiful sentence. I have chosen. Not Jamie Dornan. Not the past. Not the emotional storms from the 50 Shades era. But Chris Martin, the man who never left her even though no one knew if they had a future or not. Jamie Dornan, the name that was not mentioned, but everyone felt. When Dakota admitted her love for Chris, Jamie's name immediately became a topic that netizens mentioned. Not because of the drama, but because they once created a beautiful illusion, a love that could go beyond the screen. But because of that, Dakota knows even more. A beautiful feeling does not mean a beautiful future. Dakota respects Jamie, cherishes the past, but does not live in it. She chooses the future. And that future is named Chris Martin. Two hearts in the same beat. Dakota said, I used to think love had to be intense, painful, and disorienting. But Chris showed me that love can be gentle, lasting, and safe. And I choose that. Chris always told her, I don't promise to make you laugh every day, but I promise to be there when you need me. There are promises that don't need to be grand, but they make us tremble for a lifetime. Ending a chapter, opening a new one. After years of avoiding, Dakota is no longer afraid of love. No longer afraid to step into the future. No longer afraid that happiness is too beautiful to hold on to. He's waiting for me, and I'm ready to step toward him. Chris Martin, hearing Dakota share this, simply responded with a sentence that melted fans. You're always here. The future is coming. Close friends revealed that the wedding could take place next year, a simple outdoor ceremony where Dakota wants everything to be beautiful but natural, not noisy. She doesn't want extravagance. She wants honesty. And Chris Martin, the man who wrote hits that touched millions of hearts, was most moved by A Woman. Dakota's final message. The interview ended with a poetic quote. There are always people in life who come along at the right time, not to change you, but to wait for you to be ready. And Chris did that for me. With that, Dakota raised her head, her eyes shining as if she had just released a long-standing pain. Her story is not a scandal. Not a drama. Not a breakdown or betrayal. But a woman finally learning to believe in a love that was gentle enough to wait for her, and strong enough to make her choose him.